hello. Maggie, it's been a year since you caught alive. Well, I am so happy you are here. I mean, I was actually meant to do this live a couple of hours ago because I was still awake. Here where I am. It was like early morning, but I was still awake. But I thought, no, let me just go to sleep and then I can get up and do it then. So I'm so glad that I decided to go to sleep so that you could be here, Maggie. Hey Hidley, hey Rebecca, hey Novi D. Yeah, I can always tell, like when I do hey Jen Garcia, when I do a live at a very different time, then I see a completely different audience. And I love to see you. Hello, resistors. Hey, Roan. Hey, Monica. All right, let's get to it because I took a break and there's been a few things happening. I think it's like more corrections about certain things today other than update like new stuff happening, but interesting things to catch up on nonetheless. So today we're going to be talking about this so-called new royal book that's come out. To be honest, I didn't really want to give too much attention to this, and there's only so much about it I'm going to say in today's podcast because I don't want to give Russell Myers too much attention. I believe that this is the same guy that made some very arist comments about Archie. Again, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the only official royal book that matters are Harry's book, and that's it. It's interesting though, this book is about William and Kate, but they're making the whole promotion about Harry and Meghan as usual. And the derangers aren't exactly happy about this one because it doesn't paint it's I wouldn't say this is an anti William and Kate book or anything like that, but there are some parts where it doesn't really paint them in a good light. So derangers are mad about that. Also some great news from Archwell. So we'll get into all of that, but do remember to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button, and let's get to it. First thing, new article on my Substack. Now, I've spoken a lot about the way in which the press essentially helped the royal household create this what I like to call language of propaganda around Andrew regarding his titles. So let's just be very, very clear. Andrew is still very much a prince. He is still the 8th in line. And the attempt to make it look like removing his ceremonial titles is some kind of accountability is ridiculous. And that's what I really wanted to get to the root of in my article. So I've dropped the link to my Substack if you'd like to read this. The Royal Family, Prince Andrew and the Theatre of Fake Accountability. The obsession with Prince Andrew's titles was never about justice. It was about managing optics within a system designed to protect a powerful man from the full weight of accountability. Also, just a reminder that I will be turning all of my Substack articles into audio. So on the video channel, the video tab, at some point you'll actually be able to listen to these if you don't want to read them, if you're more of a listener instead. So yeah, just keep checking back for that. And I will just read one paragraph because I think it really sums up just how ridiculous this whole thing with Andrew's titles was. Let me just find it in Where is it now? Yeah, I say in one paragraph, if any more Epstein emails come out, we might have to start calling Andrew by the letter A, because if stripping him of titles is the only accountability the palace want to engage in, he doesn't have any titles left. So what's there to strip other than the letters of his name? It was ridiculous. In the wider scope of things, it really doesn't mean anything. The Metropolitan Police are free to waltz up to that royal estate and arrest him at any time. And that's the accountability that we want to see. All right. Hey, Kat Harlem. Hey, Caroline. Hey, Gwendolyn. Thank you, everyone, for streaming in. Hey, Marcia, you're much appreciated. So, yeah, go check out the Substack. More coming there. So, over to some good news, although some of the royal reporters are trying to spin this as bad news. So, the Hub Kitchen has indeed closed down. And contrary to how idiots like Richard Eden are trying to spin this, this is a wonderful thing. You know why it's wonderful? Because it met its purpose. The whole point of charity is to meet its purpose. It has been, how long has it been since Grenfell? It's been a while now, hasn't it? When was Grenfell? Forgive me, my memory is all over the place, but what's it, like 7-8 years, maybe even more now? So essentially, the people that needed the Hub Kitchen at the time, because it was set up to assist those who did not have kitchens, couldn't cook food, were short on funds because they'd lost their home. That's what it was set up for. And many of the women from the Hub Kitchen, by the way, have gone and started their own projects. And all the people that were rehomed, they obviously have access to services wherever it is that they have been rehomed. So it's actually, if it meets the purpose, then it's always a good thing when a charity closes down. And the Together cookbook that Meghan wrote and created to fund the Hub Kitchen is still making money for the Royal Foundation. So it's going to be interesting to see where that money is going to be funneled. I think that Meghan should be allowed to have the money funneled wherever she wants the money to go, but that is the money is now under the Royal Foundation. So I don't know how that money is being handled, whether or not she actually has the right to say what happens to that money. But what is interesting is the idiots in the Daily Fail comment section, 368 comments, and half of them absolutely foolish. Shout out to the people in the comments who did try to push some sense in there. But the way that Eden wrote this article and the way that people were interpreting it was that Meghan just used these women and ran away. When we know that she has stayed in touch with the women of the Hub Kitchen over the years. They were harassed. They were falsely accused of being linked to terrorism, thanks to the likes of Camilla Tominey. But they absolutely serve their purpose and serve their community, and the community doesn't need them. Everybody was able to be rehoused and moved on. I haven't watched the Grenfell documentary yet on Netflix because I just know it's going to be an absolute just emotional roller coaster. But just so you all know, if you want to know the scale of what happened, not just to the people that night, but the failures of government leading up to, for years, of that disaster, and the failures even after, then go and watch the Grenfell documentary on Netflix. It has been up for a few months. Also, over at Archwell, we have some wins regarding the fight against the harms caused directly and indirectly by social media, specifically regarding young people. So let me just find on the website. Give me a sec, folks. Ooh, Outro Foundation. Oh, can't seem to. Wait, give me a sec. Can't seem to find the article about this. One moment, folks. One. And it was the other day, actually. Harry was talking to the parents who've had to fight for their kids. So, in April of 2022, Ellen Room's 14-year-old son, Jules, died. Ellen sought access to his social media accounts to understand what had happened, what he'd been exposed to, what he'd been interacting with. The companies refused, citing data protection policies and terms of service. And let's just be clear, it had nothing to do with data protection. The person is dead. There's very clear evidence. That something went wrong regarding what he was consuming. It's about protecting themselves. These big social media companies, they don't want to be held accountable. And this is what, both Harry and Meghan have been trying to campaign for. Ellen could have accepted this. Instead, she dedicated herself to finding out what happened to her son and to reassuring no other parent faces the same barriers she did. And not that I care about ridiculous trolls, but we've discussed this on this podcast. These trolls who have allowed it's a slightly different topic, but it just shows the way social media can consume people in very different ways. So not trying to compare the two situations, by the way, but just trying to give examples of how social media can consume people in different ways. You have these grown adults who have allowed social media trolls and the media to drive them so cuckoo about Meghan that they're getting divorces out here. They're getting divorces. There's one troll who is so obsessed with Meghan. I believe her name is Meghan's Mole. I think she had her kid taken away from her because she lives, breathes Meghan day in and day out. She's actually been, her real name and identity has been exposed, and she's so obsessed with Meghan that she continues. I actually think that Meghan's Mole lady is gonna get done for something eventually. But we just have to be so mindful that we don't allow what we see online to consume us. And unfortunately for young people whose frontal lobe has not developed, these social media companies, they're set up to keep you in this dopamine loop with no accountability if something goes wrong. So back to young people. Sorry I digressed a little bit, but that just came to my mind. Today, that persistence of Ellen became law. The UK government has announced it will table amendments to the Crime and Policing Bill, making Jules law a reality. It will automatically preserve children's social media data when they die and give bereaved parents direct access, no court orders, no corporate gatekeeping. It's the first law of its kind anywhere in the world. Thanks to Jules' law, a source of evidence can no longer be withheld by a key defendant. I mean, I feel like part of the reason they've been able to do this in the UK is because Mark Zuckerweirdo isn't in bed with the government over there. Now, over in the US, Mark Zuckerweirdo and his social media friends were all there lined up at the inauguration, basically showing that they're aligned with this current administration. So I don't know whether or not this could get passed in the US, but we'll see. The suite of measures announced today also looks critically at rapidly developing AI technology, such as chatbots and the resulting implications for children, a start to ensuring laws stop lagging behind innovations in technology, with children and families paying the price. So well done to Eileen for fighting for not just your child, but other children. Well done to Archwell for supporting this fight. And hopefully we can get more of these laws passed, and this give credit where credit is due to the government in the UK for making sure that this is passed into law. I mean, these when I see things like this, I'm reminded of what we're missing. Because William and Kate will show up and smile and wave here and there, but nothing impactful will ever get done. This is actually going to give people a tool in the law to fight for their friends, for their family, for their children. Okay. I'll read your comments and then we'll get on to the next thing. Gwendolyn, you said they're not going to do anything to Andrew because he knows too much. Well, they may actually do something to Andrew because he knows too much. They may get rid of him. I said what I said. I think Andrew and Fergie need to watch their backs. I truly do think they need to watch their backs. Yeah, the ladies are doing really good. Forgive me, I can't remember. This is the Hub Kitchen ladies. Um, can't remember exactly which one of the girls it was, but she went off and she did her own similar spin-off project, helping women, helping communities. So yeah, it was her first project. It's been a while. Like, I don't know why they're trying to spin it into something negative. I mean, you've got Kate's charities that are literally shutting down because they cannot get funding. Megan's cookbook is still making money for a charity that is literally just no longer needed. But you see, they'll never sit down and make that comparison. Joan, you said social media companies don't care about people, only money. They think consumers can't see that. Well, I think especially for millennials who watched, or anyone who's a millennial and older who watched the evolution of the internet. But I think millennials just, not only did we watch it, we lived it. Like that MySpace era, MySpace, early Facebook, Tumblr era, right? So I think we can be a lot more mindful, and we're questioning things. Now the younger gen, they don't know what life is without the internet and social media. And their prefrontal cortexes aren't properly developed. They don't understand exactly what it is that these algorithms are doing. These algorithms are literally designed to keep you in a loop. And it's absolutely crazy. I have like a dummy Instagram account. Um and on that account, I specifically only follow this is how crazy it is. I specifically only follow accounts that are to do with finance, property, travel. Now I think that the algorithm thinks that I'm a man. I don't because I don't follow any fashion accounts or anything like that. That would be considered stereotypically feminine. Some of the nonsense that gets pushed to my feed because the algorithm thinks I'm a man is insane. It's like all of these like Andrew Tate like figures coming up on my feed. And when I think about that, it's like it doesn't surprise me that people end up down certain pipelines. So because I've followed certain interests, the algorithm thinks I'm a man, so it thinks I'm interested in these things. And I could be a guy who's never listened to some of these manosphere, red pill, MAGA type personalities, and I get fed that onto my feed. It's really scary. When I saw that, that's when this stuff really, really scared me. And something needs to be done about it. Thank you so, Ellen Vernon. Hello. I feel like I haven't seen you for the longest. Hope you are doing well. Just a reminder, anybody who's just coming in, a new article on the Substack. So go and read that. Rebecca said, is anybody surprised that they're spinning the cookbook as negative? This is what the British media do. Nope. Not surprised at all. So you've got this new book that's making the rounds. One of the interesting things that's come up is a story about Prince William in 2017 dumping Kate when she asked for commitment. Now, this has been a long-standing rumor for some time, suspected for some time, but here it is back in this book. So this week it's been full-on smooth-brained reimagined royal gossip, courtesy of Russell Myers and his new book, William and Catherine. Miles has absolutely no tea, but bless his heart, he's trying to put a positive royalist spin on everything. And the problem is, even the kindest, most generous retelling of Prince William and Kate Middleton's actions and behaviors makes them look like absolute monsters. I mean, when you don't have much to say and you have to try and say something, I don't think it's ever going to come out great, no matter how you try to put it. Or worse, what's also really funny is how many royal biographers have tried to spill William and Kate's courtship as a grand love story when it's anything but. Speaking of Myers devotes a lot of energy to William dumping Kate in 2007 when she and the Middletons were trying to pressure him to propose. We already saw a section from this part of the book, and Myers is 100% full of BS. But he gave more from this section to People magazine for their cover story. Dear oh dear. So the Queen changed the course of royal history, according to him. They claim that the Queen was fond of Kate from the start. I mean, this would go against other rumors that she actually was not particularly fond of Kate and didn't like the fact that she hadn't worked. The Queen apparently saw that Kate had future Queen qualities. Myers tells People and the monarch's private conversations with her grandson proved a catalyst for William changing course and recognizing if he had faith in the relationship and his love for her, then that would be enough to carry them through. Listen, if the person isn't your dream girl or your dream guy, they're not. And then you're just marrying out of duty and not because you actually love them. Or you're marrying because there was literally nobody else who wanted to marry you. And that's, to me, I'm sorry, that's what it's always seemed like with William. Especially after the whole Diana dilemma. Would you have wanted your daughter to marry into this family? At least, would you have wanted your daughter to marry the future king? It's always been interesting to me that none of the aristos in these circles wanted William. None of them. None of them wanted to set themselves up for everything that came with the Windsors. And even the girls that even the women who dated Harry still suffered. They still suffered with despair. Granted, it would, by all accounts, I think Harry tried to be a great partner, but you still have the whole of the institution and the weight of all of that. And that's what Meghan, who chose to stay, had to deal with. And then only for Harry and Meghan to have to leave. So it's so obvious that those who live in the UK, who are in these circles, who would have known better, ran away. I think for Meghan, because she didn't grow up in the UK, because she didn't grow up in these circles, I don't think she really knew the weight, to be honest. I don't think she could have really imagined what was to come. And I think people assume too much and assume that everybody understands how outside of the UK how things work with the royal family, the ins and outs. She didn't grow up in the UK. She wouldn't know these things. And I don't think Meghan would have wanted to assume the worst as a celebrity just from things that she read. But those of us who knew. I mean, I remember even when news of Harry and Meghan first came out, and there was that reporter, I forget her name, on ITV on Good Morning. You could see on her face, she was just like, oh no, this poor girl doesn't know what she's getting herself into. But anyway, I digress. All of those girls in the Aristo circles knew, and they didn't want to marry William, the so-called most eligible bachelor in the land, future king. Nobody wanted them. Even those royals over on mainland Europe, none of them were trying to hook their daughters up with William. Once upon a time, William was a rather dashing fellow. Literally looked like a Disney prince. Nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him for their daughters, except, it would appear, for the Middletons, who crawled their way up those Aristo circles and just hung around for as long as possible. Until finally, William gave in. So the rumours that William would propose on Kate's 25th birthday, on the day of her 25th, on January 9th, 2007, with speculation over an engagement announcement at Fever Pitch, Catherine emerged from her London flat to a scrum of more than 20 press photographers and 5 television crews. Amid the dizzying flashes of photographers, some sprinting across the road to get in front of her, some almost stumbling over each other, Catherine struggled to get her navy into her Volkswagen before the media continued to take pictures through the window of the car. Catherine called William in a flood of tears. A source close to the couple said the situation and resulting conversation was incredibly distressing and that the situation had become intolerable. But they had been on the outs months before he broke up with her anyway. But he, according to this, he dumped her the second she wanted commitment. My guess is that William probably wanted to dump her one last time, put the word out that he was single, be out on the town to let the Aristo set know, I'm single. But still, nobody stepped into the forefront. One of William's exes, they used to go hunting together even after William got married. So, I mean, if you want to spend time with a man who's married, going on hunting trips together, well, why didn't you marry him? Literally, some of these women would rather be the mistress than be the wife. And this is when the Queen apparently stepped in. Make up your mind. Are you going to marry her or not? Well, we all know how the story ended. It wasn't exactly quite happily ever after, but here we are. I do believe that Kate laid her cards out on the table and put some pressure on William. Me personally, if I'm dating a guy, especially at this phase of my life, you have a year and a half to propose. And you're lucky if I give you that half. This girl waited a whole darn decade. Um, it's widely believed at the time that William still believed that he could find a more suitable girlfriend or wife. Somebody from the aristo set, somebody with family money, somebody who preferably hadn't been stalking him since his teen years. And I absolutely believe that he only went back to Kate because none of his other girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, and none of the other girls wanted him. My ladies, if he wanted to, he would. And I don't believe that William wanted to. I just think that Kate was the only one who was willing to stay. I mean, it was either her or Lady Victoria Hervey or Lady Colin Campbell. Those are the only ladies available to William. Sad. Electra, you said Megan grew up in the US. We have no king. She thought she was walking into Cinderella. Instead, it was Nightmare on Elm Street. Exactly. Exactly. And by the time she began to realize, oh, she was way too in love with that ginger. Yeah, it's the stalker that caught her prey. I mean, we've all been in limerence about someone who we like, but Kate, a whole new level. Um, Literally, you said, I knew Megan wouldn't last because of how Diana was treated. If she couldn't do it, no way a black woman in divorce, an actress would last 1 second. Yeah. Well, it's Megan and Harry that got there happily ever after, in the most interesting of ways. Now, let's have a conversation about William. Thank you to the person that mentioned this in the last podcast, because I didn't actually know that William was potentially warned about this weirdo, this Epstein associate, some time ago. I'd actually forgotten about this. So much happens in this royal space. It's difficult to keep up and remember all of the moving parts. But this Sultan Ahmed bin Salem, who is allegedly the individual who emailed Epstein about a torture video, William was allegedly, or he was warned about this individual back in 2022. Now, if you haven't been around and you don't know what's going on, William, through his charities, is now associated with Epstein, and it's all centering around money that has been given to William's charities by the likes of this Sultan Ahmed. Now, Sultan Ahmed gave Earthshot a whopping $1 million. So let's have a read of this. So Prince William was actually warned about Sultan Ahmed bin Salem in 2022 and carried on anyway. When the last drop of the Epstein files emerged at the end of January 2026, attention did not stay confined to past allegations or familiar names. The disclosures exposed lines of correspondence, business ties, and social circles that many people had not previously known about. Newly released unsealed material repeatedly referenced Emirati billionaire Sultan Ahmed bin Salem, pulling the powerful logistics executive back into public view. Within days, headlines shifted from historical curiosity to present-day accountability. Investors questioned corporate governance, advocacy groups demanded answers, and scrutiny quickly expanded beyond Salem himself. That widening spotlight soon reached Prince William because of his professional and charitable ties to the former DP World chairman. Photographs, past meetings, and funding links quickly resurfaced across news outlets and social media. Critics reported the Earthshot Prize to the Charity Commission. Now, let me say, I don't think the Charity Commission is going to do anything. And I don't believe that Earthshot has still, we're going on almost a week. These allegations have surfaced. I don't think Earthshot have said anything. Now, wouldn't you say we didn't know anything? Wouldn't you say we're giving the money back? That they can't say that if they did know something. Critics reported the Earthshot Prize to the Charity Commission, arguing that he showed poor judgment by accepting corporate partnerships connected to Sultan Ahmed. The regulator confirmed it would review concerns around donor vetting and financial transparency. More troubling for many observers is that William had already received a public warning about Salem 4 years earlier, during a period of national controversy that already signaled clear reputational risk and due diligence concern. Y'all, they don't care. They don't care. The warning that was already on record. In March 2022, the Daily Fail reported that Prince William had collaborated with Sultan Ahmed through environmental initiatives linked to the Earthshot Prize and the United for Wildlife program. At the same time, public anger exploded over the P&O Ferries company, who dismissed 800 UK crew members without notice. That's a hell of a lot of people out of the job. The decision triggered protest, parliamentary debates, and widespread criticism across the country. DP World, the parent company for P&O Ferries, and chaired by Salem, became the focal point of that outrage. The controversy placed William's professional proximity under immediate scrutiny because images showed the two men meeting in Dubai while the employment crisis dominated British headlines. You know, this is just the level of audacity. And you know why William could happily be frolicking around in Dubai? Because he knows that there'll be no accountability. 800 people out of the job, and there he is with the chairman. But he knows he can do that. Okay, let me... Okay, so former Home Office Minister Norman Barker addressed the issue directly and urged William to cut ties. He stated that remaining associated with such a company damaged the royal image and risked public trust. His prophetic remarks are important because they came from an experienced political figure rather than a sycophantic royal reporter or commentator. Despite this, William continued collaborative engagements and accepted ongoing partnerships connected to DP World initiatives. So he just carried on. Critics now view that decision as a missed opportunity to demonstrate stronger judgment at a time when the warning signs already stood in plain sight. This is another point that I was trying to make in the last podcast that I did. Why can they never find legitimate sources of money from people who aren't dodgy to fund these royal charities? Why does no one of any integrity want to put their money there? What do they know that is stopping them? All these celebrities, business people, they all give money to charities. All of them do. So what is going on that it seems only very dodgy people want to give royals money when we're told that the royal institution is the creme de la creme? So William continued collaborative engagement and accepted ongoing partnerships connected to DP World initiatives. and critics now view that decision as a missed opportunity. The episode revealed early concerns about how reputational risks were assessed by William and whether internal and external advice received adequate consideration. Clearly not. So Earthshot presents itself as a modern environmental prize with strong ethics and careful donor checks. That image now looks weaker because one of its early backers, DP World, was led by Sultan Ahmed bin Salem when the funding links were formed. Many are questioning whether the prize applied the same level of scrutiny it publicly promises, especially after later discourse brought Salem back into controversy and cast doubt on the judgment behind those partnerships. Prince William's 2016 visit to DP World's London Gateway Port was originally framed as a wildlife protection initiative and a sign of international cooperation. Today, however, release emails show Sultan Ahmed casually referencing royal meetings and Buckingham Palace functions in messages to Jeffrey Epstein. Wider revelations have made those exchanges far more troubling, especially after reports accused another senior royals, most notably Andrew, of sharing confidential trade material with Epstein. The pressure on Earthshot today is not just about money, the issue centers on decision making. Campaigners reported the charity to the Charity Commission in the UK to uncover what checks officials completed before accepting corporate support. They are going to do everything to make sure that we don't find out. I think that if we get to the bottom of exactly what happened here, who knew what due diligence was and wasn't done, I think it will be because of some kind of investigative report, like a Channel 4 dispatches thing or something like that, or a Guardian thing. I don't think the Charity Commission is going to do anything. They are demanding clear answers of who approved partnership, what risk advisors discussed, and whether leadership ignored any concerns. Now remember, one of the executives of this charity at the moment is Jason Knopf. William made sure to get one of his sheep ready in position. Is Jason going to be used as a fall guy? Oh, it wasn't William's fault. It was this one's fault. The focus has shifted from donation amounts to transparency and responsibility, with many arguing that charities linked to senior royals should show stronger screening than anyone. Exactly. But they don't, and we know they don't. And it's not just that William's charity took this money. It's a proximity that these individuals, these dodgy individuals, have to the royal household. Now, in the middle of all of this, public support for the monarchy has fallen drastically just in the last few months. Lowest ever recorded levels. So all of those silly YouGov polls that they keep doing, useless. Because once the truth comes out, people can make their minds up for themselves. And once the truth is so loud, it cannot be ignored. And this is no longer a question of optics now. Now we're looking at literally the future of this institution. Because even the most, even the most ride or die O3 Bonnie and Clyde royalists are questioning things. And the problem with William is that he lacks any depth. Pretty much everybody in that royal household lacks any depth. They're still just carrying on like nothing is happening. It's giving emperors new clothes. And one of these days, the emperors are going to come out the house and they're going to be very surprised at what they see. I think back to the images at the last trooping. I think this trooping is going to be even more interesting, because the last trooping you had the Not My King folk all up in the background. You had protesters all up in the background for the first time. The press didn't even try to hide and use different picture angles. So sooner or later, they're gonna have to. I mean, they're already facing the fact that they are under more scrutiny now. People are now seeing all of the actions of the royals and the press through this Andrew and Epstein situation. Now people have a whole new lens to view their actions through. And what are they doing? They're showing up to schools, trying to use children as a shield. They're not addressing the issue directly. They're releasing these surface level statements. They can't continue to go on like this. The emperors are going to come out of the house and they're going to be surprised at what they see and the way the peasants are behaving. And then on top of all of this, mind you, we often forget the uncertainty around Charles's health. And the palace have been saying very little about that. And all of the talk that William could actually reach the throne sooner than anyone planned. Now, now imagine a scenario like this. Charles departs this earth. And we're all getting ready for the next coronation, and some other scandal like this comes out slap bang in the middle of the coronation. I see that happening. And then I think the royalty of whatever hardline monarchists that are left is really going to be tested. I'm going to predict that right now. That's my next prediction. As and when Charles departs this earth, and we now start getting ready for the coronation, the lead up, something else is going to come out that's going to completely overshadow William getting William's coronation. Yes, Electra, this royal family be shady as hell. Dear oh dear. Now, Earthflop is going to India, by the way. That's where it's going to be next. Be interesting to see if Kate goes to this one or they come up with another excuse as to why she hasn't been to Earthflop now for how many years. Hidley, Earthflop flew celebrities to New York instead of the winners. Exactly. And that's another thing. It's just about the optics of what surrounds William, because they want to promote him, this statesman, this person who's, aligned with the stars after bashing Hollywood and bashing Meghan. Julian, you said, so Janita, you said, the only one who wants William to be king is William. The monarchy needs to shut down. Well, I don't see that they're going to call for a reform anytime soon. I don't even think you need to at this point. I think the UK is too politically fragile to do that. The situation is way too fragile. I think what does need to be done and what should be done in the immediate is holding the individual members of the royal family account. I think that's what needs to be done right now. I think it's too much of a leap to be talking about abolish the monarchy, let's have a vote. That's just too much. You can call the individual members of the royal family into a room and start interrogating about many things, whether it's what they knew about Andrew and Epstein, their finances, their lack of work ethic. You can hold them accountable on an individual level without dragging the whole nation into some kind of reform vote. We need to do this in steps. Baby steps, please. Trader CC, my 2 cents on Kate's patriarchal bargaining refers to women in male-dominated system that accept certain limits, even help enforce them in exchange for safety, status, or protection. Yes, and that is an actual term. Maybe you'd like to put in the comment section the feminist writer that actually came up with that term. But this is the thing. Other great examples of women in the public eye who engage in patriarchal bargaining: Erica Kirk, Melania Trump, Candace Owens, these types. Erica is a perfect example of this. This is a woman who got married at 34. I think she got married to Charlie. Charlie was younger than her. Multiple degrees. Had a clothing line, a podcast. Was a model, reality TV star. Also worked in real estate. But here she is, now running her husband's former organization, talking about you need to just get married and have babies. That's an example of patriarchal bargaining. I climb the ladder and have a whole CV of accolades, millions of dollars in the bank, full life autonomy, and now I'm at the top of the ladder. I'm going to push the ladder away, and I'm going to tell all the other women, on behalf of the Heritage Foundation and the Trump administration, just go get married and have babies. There's a perfect example of patriarchal bargaining. Rules for thee, but not for me. That might be the time for Meghan's book to come out. What? When William is getting coronated? I mean, I'd love to see it just for the tea, but I don't think that would happen. We'd love it for the tea. The whole nation would be dragged either way. That's true, but I think you have to be strategic with these things. I don't think my opinion is a popular opinion, but I don't think we should have a vote to abolish the monarchy at this point in time. I think there needs to be accountability in terms of getting the individual members of the royal family held to account first. Because, and the reason I'm saying that, by the way, it's not because I don't want the monarchy, but it's not because I don't want a situation where the monarchy, or at least the powers that the monarchy has, aren't abolished. It's just because I'm thinking of how Brexit went down. Like, that's what's in my mind. And it's like, I'm thinking of the way the likes of Nigel Farage and the political right really weaponized Brexit to cause an absolute ish show. So I do think we have to be measured about these things and not just jump to the most extreme. Otherwise, you can have people like the likes of Farage. If we were to have a vote to abolish the monarchy today, the way people like that would weaponize it. People are angry at the individual members of the royal family, and I think you can direct the anger and the energy in that direction to hold them accountable. Oh yeah, Pam Bondi, that's another example of patriarchal bargaining. One of the worst examples. All right. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? No, I think that was all for today. Thank you so much as always, everyone. Really do appreciate you and the energy that you bring to the podcast, the life that you bring to the podcast. By the way, Brian from Sussex Squad TV, Sussex Squad Family TV, sorry. He was on a podcast with me. I think it was like 2 or 3 podcasts ago. So I'm gonna repost the link if you missed that, because it's always a good time with Brian on the show. You get to hear somebody else's voice, not just mine. And that was a really good podcast. So I want to make sure that you get to hear that if you didn't. Gail Lewis, she said, it's too big a deal institutionally. Just take away their power. Ceremonial only, not power. That would be a great way to curb the rules power. Exactly. Exactly. I think it's just too big institutionally to start getting into abolish the monarchy. At this point, let me stress, at this point, there will be a time. There will be a time. I just don't feel the time is now. Thank you so much, Renita. All right, folks. Thank you ever so much as always. Links in the description box if you'd like to donate to the channel. Every donation helps. And yeah, let's see what comes in the coming weeks, because it would appear that the royals really just want to take the route of never complain, never explain, and hope that this all goes away. I think that's what's happening here, because it doesn't explain the laid back attitude of the royals right now regarding this issue of Epstein and Andrew. They're just being too laid back. And I think that the reason they're being so laid back is because they believe that they're going to get away with this again. So maybe actually the only way we deal with them is to cause chaos. Come to think about what I just said. I mean, I'm thinking, I don't want to, if I was in charge, I wouldn't want to cause chaos for the whole country just because of the royals. But that chaos might be the only way to shake the royals, actually. So I might walk back what I just said. Thank you so much, Mush, for the coffee. Much appreciated. Anyway, time tells all. And when I think of where we've come in the short time from, when the Queen passed away, the way things just began to fall apart once she was gone, who knows what's going to come next? Who knows? But of course, I will be here to report it. I will be here to report it. So always make sure that you have your coffee, water, tea, matcha, and popcorn ready. And we will talk about it here on this podcast. Love you all. Wishing you a fantastic day. And I will see you in the next pod. Ciao.